Hey there, Aries. Welcome to your reading for the week of May 25th. You have this cutoff card. It says, let go of what no longer serves you. You have this lock card. It says, something is hidden or locked. Wouldn't worry too much about it, Aries, if something is hidden. One thing I will tell you is that this week, at the end of the week, we have that full moon in Sag, which I think is going to be really good for you, even though you're not a Sagittarius, doesn't matter. And, literally, that full moon for you is all about expanding past something or, expanding past things that have maybe been kept hidden. The other thing is that, Sag is the opposite of Gemini. We have Uranus and Gemini, and Uranus and Gemini kind of reveals the truth. And also, it reveals the truth a little bit faster right now because we also have Mercury in Gemini, and you could definitely, something that's been hidden could be being revealed, or you could be understanding something, which, like I said, having a full moon in Sagittarius for you, Aries, I think would be good for gaining a new understanding or expanding. Like I said here, I could have easily predicted that the Three of Wands would have come up in your reading because that's what it's all about. I mean, literally, that's what this week is all about for you. I think moons, we can feel them a lot earlier. And we can also feel them after the moon happens. So you might, even though, today is the 21st, this will be published on the 22nd, you could definitely be feeling it, by the beginning of the week or like the middle of the week before it even happens. Your first row is going to represent your main theme for the reading. We have the Four of Wands, King of Pentacles, and the King of Cups. There is a good amount of love here for you, Aries. So, of course, if you want love, could be a commitment coming in. Doesn't mean you have to get married today, but I think that you could be, definitely attracting a commitment, something that leads to a commitment in the future. The other thing that I would say to you, Aries, is basically what I've been saying to you all year. You have that cut off card. It says, let go of what no longer serves you. My thing with the Four of Wands is it doesn't have to be a cutoff. It can just say Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries. There is something that needs to be finished. We are on this side of the card. We need to go to that side of the card so that we can celebrate with these people on the other side. So especially right now with the astrology, when the Four of Wands comes up, especially for you, I feel that it's saying, you might have something that's kind of like on your shelf, like a old project or, something that you've never accomplished, like a goal or a wish for your life. And the Four of Wands wants you to accomplish that thing, whatever it is. And if you have multiple things, I would just pick one, right? And stick to it because you will be rewarded. Again, we are kind of, I try to explain this, and I don't know, sometimes I'm really bad at explaining things, I think, but I think that, like, the universe wants to reward us right now, but this is what we have to do, especially you, because you're an Aries. Finishing something, you will get the rewards from, especially Saturn. I think, I always say that I think Saturn delivers rewards pretty quickly. I think that Saturn gets a bad rap in the astrology. I've noticed in life that when I work with wherever Saturn is in my chart, like when I work with the energy, it seems to me like I get the results right away. And I've heard this from other people as well. So, I would definitely work with it because you will be rewarded. You have the King of Pentacles. I kind of do feel this is a person, King of Pentacles, King of Cups. One person. I know that there are two cards, right? But I feel like this is one person if you are looking for love. And, I feel it could be someone who's very, like, stable and secure, but also, like, emotionally stable with the King of Cups. We also have the Seven of Cups. I actually think that this could be a little bit of a challenge in the connection. Not like a bad one, but maybe, you are an initiator, right? And so if you attract a person who's like a big dreamer, who has a lot of dreams, I think that could drive you crazy because it's like, it's like dating a Pisces. I don't know. I'm a Pisces. I'm just going to say it. I'm not saying this person is a Pisces, but what I am saying is it's like I think that us Pisces people, we have these big dreams that we never take action on. I feel like that would drive an Aries crazy, right? And so again, I think that it could be a person like that. But at the same time, again, relationships aren't meant to be sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, right? It's like there are challenges. And also, I think sometimes if we find a person that drives us a little crazy, but we, but we still want to be with that person, it's like maybe that is the right person to be with because it's like a challenge, right? It's like in a good way. It's like something that causes growth, and maybe the two of you can help each other. It's like maybe you need the dreams so that you can take action on, right? So I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just something to think about. Definitely time to level up your finances. Again, the key word for Aries right now is level up. like whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, but I think a lot of you want to level up your finances, and you could be discovering ways to do that. You have the King of Cups again. I definitely get dreamy energy here. So, it could be a person with a lot of dreams, a lot of ideas. I think they take action on some, maybe not others at the same time. Again, it's like you have the Chariot going this way, which is good. Could be like a person who kind of takes control of their reality. But I don't know. I just see that Seven of Cups, and it gives me Pisces feelings. As a Pisces, I can say that, right? And so, again, I'm not saying it's a Pisces. I'm just saying that it's a person like it, that's like a Pisces, maybe, in some ways. And, again, you're all different. Like, some of you will like it. Some of you probably won't. So, definitely something to pay attention to. As I've been saying all year, I would definitely pay attention to your emotions. I think all the energy we've had in Aries could be making you more emotional. Again, that's not like crying, although it could be. It could be any emotion, and the King of Cups wants us to use our emotions. With the Four Wands, here you go. You have the Queen of Pentacles. So we have divine counterparts now. These two are very good. They want something stable, secure, permanent. So it could be a really good connection. These two together are also good for your finances. Like I said, I mean, you are definitely one of the signs that's going to be very focused on improving your finances over the coming year or so. And it's just a good time for you to do it. With the King of Pentacles here, you have the Queen of Wands. Could be a very seductive person. We have the Queen of Wands twice. Queen of Wands is my card of seduction, so there could be a lot of physical attraction between the two of you if you're meeting a person. The Queen of Wands also wants you to finish something. She can be before a finish line, like the Four Wands, and she's my card of learning as you go. Now, I will say, basically everyone has been getting these cards that have been saying that June, and yes, I understand that this reading is for the 25th to the 31st. It's not confusing. If you're confused, I don't know, go watch someone else. Your brain can't handle it, right? But what I would say here is that, yes, by the time we get to June, really important month for learning as you go and being willing to learn as you go. I think if you think that you need to know all the answers and all that other stuff, you're just going to stop yourself. With the King of Cups, you have the Hierophant, so marriage again. And, the thing about the Hierophant is that these two people are on a parallel journey. Their life is not exactly the same. And as a matter of fact, you have the Two of Cups, which would represent two totally different people. So the Hierophant says these people are on a parallel journey. They're not the same, but they're similar. And so I feel that you could be meeting a person that kind of like really fits in with your life, or it's like maybe the two of you are kind of like working towards the same things in life or the same goals. So, that could be why it does work, even if the person is too much of a dreamer. It's like maybe this is a person that's been waiting for the fire, right? Maybe they have the steak, but you have the sizzle here, Aries. So, definitely something to think about. Next, we are going to look at the challenge to overcome this week. You have this card. It says, Mercury did it. It says, blame the stars, miscommunication, cosmic excuses, retrograde blame. We're about to have a retrograde. You have this, you knew, you ignored it. It says, intuition, ignorance, and self-betrayal. So again, I've been telling you all year that you have to trust your intuition more, Aries, because Neptune is in your sign. I don't really think it's a bad thing. I just... but I do feel that you could be having moments over the coming years where you're like, I knew I should have done that. I knew I should have said yes. I knew I should have gone through with this. So again, I think you need to start trusting your intuition a little bit more. Mercury is in a crazy position right now because it's, pretty much gone over Uranus in Gemini. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. And so when we have them both in Gemini, it's a little bit, electric, a little bit chaotic energy. So it could be feeling like a retrograde to you right now, even though it isn't, although it will be soon enough. So, something to think about again. You have the Two of Cups, the Seven of Cups, and the Two of Wands. Again, love, again, this doesn't have to be a bad challenge. It's like you could be meeting a person where the two of you are very different. But again, sometimes that works, right? It's like, you can meet a person that's very different than you or comes from a different background, which, by the way, the full moon in Sag, if there was ever a moon that could bring you a person that's like completely out there, completely different, it would probably be this moon. So it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe this is coming up as a challenge because maybe you have to give it a chance, Aries. Like if you're meeting a person, maybe you're not not sure. Maybe you're not sure right away. And, maybe it would be worth it to, go on a second date with a person, for example, right? The other thing to understand with the Two of Cups is that this right here is Mercury. This is the staff of Hermes, which represents Mercury. So it represents communication. And, maybe you're meeting a person where your communication style is different, or maybe they just communicate in a different way. It's kind of like popping into it's funny that you have this card here. It says vibes over his eyes. It's like he's blocking his eyes, and it just said he's like trying to feel the vibe. But, it's like sometimes I think if we meet a person who's like super honest, for example, it's almost like no one is honest nowadays. And so when you meet a person who's super honest, you might not like believe it at first, right? So I kind of get that feeling on the Two of Cups, or it's like maybe there are certain things that they say that kind of go over your head at first. Like again, not in a bad way. I'm just saying. And it might be something where it would be worth like paying attention more to anyone new that you're meeting. And I definitely feel that. On top of all that, Two of Cups as a challenge wants you to tap into your higher self more. It wants you to listen to your intuition more. It wants you to communicate with your higher self more, all that. You have the Seven of Cups. Again, Seven of Cups could be the challenge of having too many choices in life right now. I definitely feel that as far as work is concerned for you, Aries. I think there's one simple question that you need to ask yourself, which is this going to bring me to the next level, or is it going to keep me where I am? If the answer is next level, then I would do it, right? Whatever your dreams or your ideas are. You have the Two of Wands, again, leaving comfort. Again, I think everybody's kind of dealing with this right now. He's standing on the top of his castle, and he has his village right down here, which represents his comfort zone. And so he's being asked to expand, which again, with this full moon at the end of the week, you are definitely being asked to expand specifically with this full moon. Specifically you. You are the number one sign that's being asked to expand more than ever right now. With this moon. So I would be taking advantage of it and leaving comfort zones, doing things that make you slightly uncomfortable. Again, we're not talking about uncomfortable in a bad way. We're talking about Queen of Wands. Again, she has that sunflower, points towards the sun, towards her happiness. She just doesn't know how she's going to get there. And so she has to take the risk of just learning as she goes, and she'll be fine. So I feel you need to get comfortable with that. With the Two of Cups, you have the Fool. I mean, I think you're going to take the leap of faith. I don't really feel this is a challenge. I feel you're going to go for it. So if you're meeting a person, anytime, I would say even, this week or all the way through June, it kind of looks to me like you're going to take the leap of faith or the risk. And I feel like you're going to be happy that you did. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Sun twice in this reading, which is amazing, which is also good because we have the Queen of Wands twice. So the Queen of Wands, again, sunflower pointing towards the sun. And the sun is something that will make you very happy. Now, the sun, when it clarifies a card, it's shining its light on that card. So it wants you to really pay attention to that Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is, again, being spoiled for choice, having too many options as a challenge. But it kind of wants you to, I think the Queen of Wands wants you to go through the process. The thing with the Seven of Cups is we can imagine the dream, but we never actually go through with it because there's some bad things in those cups, right? And so I always say with the Seven of Cups, don't cheat yourself out of something that's clearly going to be a victory. Here, again, with the Two of Wands, you have the Ace of Swords. Don't cheat yourself out of something that's going to be a victory, right? The Ace of Swords is a victory. The other thing is that we have this Cut It Off card. It says, let go of what no longer serves you. The Ace of Swords cuts both ways. So sometimes we have to cut one thing out to have something better with this card, and I would do that. Next, what are we doing? Oh yeah, what you don't see coming. You can't make this up. You have the South Node. It says, don't let your past hold you back. You have this waxing crescent moon. It says, have faith in your dreams. I feel like you've had this card, and I feel like all year, or maybe even last year as well, 2025, I feel I said to you a lot that, a lot of your readings were dreamy. They really were. They were all about your dreams, Aries. And it makes a lot of sense because Neptune, the planet of dreams, is in your sign. And it's there to stay for a while. So, it makes sense that you would be really working on something more that is a dream or a goal or a wish that you've had for a long time. You have the Chariot, the Three of Pentacles, and the Sun. The Chariot is charging towards a victory, so love this. He's also leaving his comfort zone, right? He's leaving the city behind him and he's charging forward in a new direction. I really feel you're like taking off at this time, Aries, or you have the opportunity to really take off. So again, if you have any ideas that you want to work on, again, I'm not saying that things are going to work overnight, but I do feel we are definitely in a time, especially June, July, August of this year. I've been begging people to really take advantage of this next 3 months or so, starting now, even though we're in May. I don't care. I would start today. Again, I'm publishing this on the 22nd. I would start on the 22nd if you're watching it on the 22nd or the 23rd or the 24th. Right? Because if we take off towards something, then we're going to lock it in, which will carry us through to next year, which we need. So I would say, this is about, really charging forward towards something. You have the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles says teamwork makes a dream work. I think I've said to you before that I think it would be a great time for you to finish in public as well. So if you're working on any projects, like finishing them and then showing them off, I think would be a really good idea for you, Aries. It would get you a lot of attention. He's getting attention for the work that he's done. He also added something just a little special. He has this fire triangle here, water triangle right here. Water triangle says he added just like a little extra twist to what he was working on. And the important thing with the Three of Pentacles is we don't want to over deliver. We just want to over deliver just a little bit, right? And so I think adding, if you're working on any important projects in work or business, adding just something, just a little like extra signature to what you're doing will probably make all the difference in the world. Aries, also make sure to leave a comment, really helps me out. You have the Sun, so again, best card in the deck, makes the whole entire reading more positive. I feel your reading is clearly asking you to move towards the Sun. The Sun is happiness, it's joy. It can also be something that's like relatively easy, but again, we're definitely in a time where we have to put in the work. So I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but this child here is carrying this big red banner very easily. And it kind of represents ease. It says, what you're working on, it doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be simple. And I would keep things simple with the Sun. With the Chariot, you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is amazing. Like I said, definitely very good money reading for you, a good money time for you in general. With the Nine of Pentacles, we have to focus on the skills that we have. She has these grapes behind her, and those grapes behind her represent specific skills that she has that can create success. So, I would be doubling down on the things that you're already good at, because that will probably lead to faster success. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the King of Cups. Again, that King of Cups, that could be a person as well, not love, right? So even if you don't want love, this could be a person that kind of, like I said, I don't know. Maybe they have the steak, you have the sizzle. It's like you might be the person that can make a dream happen together with another person. And so if you're working on a business or ideas, I think working with other people or finding a person that can fill in the gaps, that can do what you can't do and vice versa, that might be the secret sauce here in this reading. With the Sun card, you have the Page of Swords. Yeah, being curious about your attention. The Sun is our attention in a reading. It shines a light on things we should pay attention to. And so the Page of Swords is curiosity. I always say he is like a detective in the tarot. He really looks deeply into things he doesn't understand or the things he does understand. He goes one step deeper. And so really exploring your mind or exploring what's attracting you right now might be a good idea, Aries, like getting the answers. The Queen of Wands even, again, she's a card of seduction, but something like an idea could be attracting you right now or seducing you. You might, think about an idea and get super excited when you think about it. And I feel the Page of Swords is saying, go one step further and explore it. Don't just think about it. Next in the area of, how to have a breakthrough this week. You have this whale, it says Wisdom Keeper. You have this peacock, it says Pregnancy and Wealth on it. So it might be time for you to start birthing your ideas to create that wealth. The Page of Swords also would say you have a lot of wisdom. So I would be using your wisdom to create success. You have the Three of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and the Devil. Three of Wands, again, the whole theme of your reading should be expansion because of the moon that we have at the end of the week. It's all about expansion for you. Again, as I always say with this card, he has to go places he's never been before. These boats are going somewhere he's never been before in his life, and he has to, explore those new directions to see what he's capable of. And I feel it is a time for you to, it is almost like it's a time for Aries to like learn their capabilities. And, this could be about challenging yourself to do that. You have the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands, again, card of seduction. She wants you to move towards the sun, learn as you go. She also wants you to not care what people think about what you're doing, which is a big theme right now. Again, Uranus and Gemini is good, but I also think that Uranus and Gemini, Gemini energy is like gossip, jealousy, so it's like if we're listening too much to other people, we might not do things that we want to do because they might be judging us, they might be but what you don't know is they're judging it because they're jealous of what you're doing. So, again, I think everybody needs to be careful of listening too much to what people are saying. Like I said, I would really be paying attention to what you're being attracted to. Like what excites you? What, speaking of fire, what lights you on fire right now? And, that's what I would be working on. You have the Devil. Again, I think this has come up for you a lot recently, needing to get rid of bad habits. I'm pretty sure I've been saying this to you, Aries. And it just seems extra important for you, probably because of Saturn being in your sign. Saturn wants us to be disciplined. It wants us to, kind of follow the rules. And I know that's boring, but, again, I think that doing that and working with that Saturn energy will be more beneficial. So if there are any habits that are kind of getting in the way, it's definitely something I would think about. It kind of reminds me, one of my favorite books of all time is called Skip the Line by James Altucher. I think it's that book that he talks about how it's like people don't realize the habits that really do affect them without realizing it. Like he brings up food. He's like, some people always have stomach issues because they're like eating a certain food. And people don't realize that like constantly having stomach issues like affects your brain, right? And so I think you need to look a little bit deeper with that Page of Swords. I'm not saying it's food, Aries. I'm just using that as an example. But it's like, is there something that needs to be cut out that is kind of like more subtle, that you're not paying attention to, and maybe you just don't realize that it's affecting you? I don't know. Just a question I'm asking, right? With the Three of Wands, you have the Hermit. Yeah, Hermit wants you to shine your light. I do feel it's probably time for you to come out of Hermit mode. I said work in public with the Three of Pentacles. I think it's time to, kind of put your work out there. It's like on one hand, yeah, I think we're in a time where we can attract a lot of jealousy. But on the other hand, I think we can also attract our tribe right now, probably better than ever. But we have to take the risk, right? So that's what I would do. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Three of Pentacles again. So there's clearly like a masterpiece. This is his masterpiece that he has built here. And so there could be like some sort of masterpiece that you're trying to build in your life or some sort of, project. With the Devil, you have the Magician. The Devil and the Magician can be like trickster vibes, trickster energy. I think it's saying don't trick yourself out of something that's going to be good for you. He also, again, his stomach wouldn't hurt, Aries. He fully embodies the thing that he is trying to manifest on a very deep level. His habits, his mindset, the story he tells himself, everything he does is pointing towards something that he wants to accomplish, right? So he would think to himself, oh, if I want to get rich and my brain's being affected because my stomach hurts, then I need to change something so my stomach stops hurting so I can focus on my work, right? It's like he goes very deep. I always pull the card he's pointing to. We're going to say it's this one. You have this new moon in Pisces. It says meditate and contemplate. Yeah, again, Neptune in your sign, very good time for you to be more spiritual or to tap into your kind of like spiritual side with that meditate and contemplate card. You have this broken ring. It says parting of the ways either in romance or business. I do think you're cutting something out here, Aries. I don't think it has to be like that big of a deal, but again, whatever isn't working, I would remove it. You have this dragon. It says beware of self-delusion, which is definitely true. Again, Neptune in your sign. With Neptune in our sign, we can come up with this grand idea for our life, and then we live it so much in our heads that we never make it happen. So not a bad card. I just think it's saying if you have this big plan, start taking the steps here on Earth. If you're taking the steps, you're not delusional. If you're just living it in your brain, you are. You have this Ant card. It says work, achievement, success. Yeah, love it. Aries. I love this card because, ants can lift many times their body weight. So, I think that at this time, like, especially the next 3 months, even, from now, June, July, August, I think you really could be making a lot more progress. It's like your work can have more of an effect. So I would take advantage of it. You have this dog close up. It says pleasure with close friends. Yeah, I'm a big fan of you socializing with the right people. Three of Pentacles is your answer. Three of Pentacles people are people who lift you up, who lift your vision up. So, those are good. Jealous people, bad, right? You have this shark. It says, take care, there will be loss in material wealth. Yeah, money looks very good for you, but, of course, I would be careful of, spending too much money, all that other stuff. Especially, Chiron is going to be entering into Taurus in the middle of June. And so it's only going to be there for a short period of time, then it's going to retrograde out. But yes, I understand this is a weekly reading. Get over it, number one. Number two, what I would say is, like, starting now, because it's Chiron's at the end of Aries, basically, I would be keeping an eye on your spending, and you'll be fine if you do that. So pretty interesting. I like it, Aries. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.